It looks like something is changing a little bit, and this could be bullish for altcoins. Yes, I said it. I said something bullish about altcoins. Now, leave me the fuck alone with your comments about me being too bearish all the time. It hurts me. But it's actually bullish. And I want to talk a little bit about that, why altcoins could have a pretty decent pump. Maybe the coming month. So if you position yourself quite well, you can definitely make some good money out of that. With that being said, welcome to the Fomo Factory. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. I made myself a little smaller than before because what's the benefit of seeing my head? You want to take a look at the charts, of course. So let's go over the market right now and let's then talk about why altcoins are looking a little bit more bullish, in my opinion, at this moment. First off, Bitcoin was in this uptrend since the beginning of the year. It's looking really strong. We were holding this trend until August. Then we broke down, and from the moment we broke down from, let's say, 30K, we tanked to 25K, give or take. So it looked like the bullish trend was over, but we really had a great push the last couple of weeks. However, Bitcoin is now facing this uptrend as resistance. If we would have continued this trend for the complete rest of the year, basically, Bitcoin would have ended the year above $42,000. It's not impossible that that still happens, but this major support that we had over the last year is now resistance. So in my opinion, it is quite likely that Bitcoin will get rejected right here and at least finds the range of around like 30K again. That looks like a very decent correction for BTC to happen. If we look at it on the daily, you can get a little more insights. As you can see, that this whole 30K area is a huge area of resistance that we have been facing since May 2022, where it was support, and ever since the market started to turn around, we had resistance over here in April and a lot in June, July, even a little bit in August. Now we broke it, so it's likely that it goes back. You want to see it hold. If it doesn't hold, then that 25K level is an absolute magnet, in my opinion, as you can see how much resistance and support is sitting right there. There's not much in between. However, what does this have to do with altcoins? Well, we all have seen that altcoins are really weak against Bitcoin. Bitcoin over the last even like just last week, it gained 15%. If you look at the total 3 last week, it gained 5%. So Bitcoin is 3 times as strong as the collective altcoin market. Now, I'm not saying it's 3 times as strong as Chainlink or Solana or whatever. There are some outperformers, but if you take them all into one chart, then this is the chart. So altcoins have been lagging. Now, is it time for altcoins to now finally catch up on this Bitcoin move? Because you can say whatever you want, Bitcoin is holding up. If you look at the daily, usually after such a hard candle, you would expect a correction to happen just as hard. But it maintains right there, and it's not even maintaining right there. It's some kind of an uptrend right here. So BTC is showing definitely strength, but altcoins didn't do that yet. However, I think this is going to turn around. Now, before I'm going to explain why that is, you have to understand what strategy you have to apply to take advantage of that. A lot of people, they have their dollars and they want to buy altcoins with their dollars. And yeah, then in that case, okay, you can take a look at the total 3 right here. And you could say like, yeah, the altcoin market is still in a downtrend since like ever, basically, since the bear market started. It has never managed to make a higher high, right? We have a high, we have a low high, low high, low high, low high, low high, low high right here. While that's with Bitcoin, of course, a complete different story. We have only higher highs for the last couple of months, basically. But what I've been doing, as you may know, maybe don't know, is I've been buying Bitcoin. So when I make money on that, 2, I now can use that Bitcoin as my dry powder to buy altcoins with, right? And that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Because if we take a look at the total 3, minus USDT, what do you notice? So this is really the altcoin market, right? We can take a look at the total 3 right here, and let's put it on the weekly, but this includes stable coins. And you see some nice higher lows right here, and you'll be like, hey, the altcoin market is showing strength. That's actually not the case, because if you take USDT away, what you see is that it makes lower highs, but also lower lows. Okay, so the altcoin market on its dollar pair, although we have these pumps occasionally, right, is still very weak, but it's like very hard to understand if you just witnessed a 17% pump on average, right? And again, some altcoins pumped way more, but some pumped way less. 17% is the average of the total 3. But that gets people into the market thinking that the altcoin market is really bullish right now. While if you just look at this chart, it's a downward trend. So it's actually not that bullish. However, if you have been buying Bitcoin, you can say like, yeah, but altcoins, they got wrecked on their Bitcoin pair, right? Bitcoin dominance shot up together with Bitcoin. So altcoins on their Bitcoin pair are down a lot. So if you have Bitcoin, you can now buy all the lows basically in the altcoin market, which gives you some really decent entries. I'm very much about the long term, right? Investing in the bear, cashing out in the bull, and anything that happens in between is a little bit noise to me. But I do want to talk about that noise a little bit, because what we now see is that Bitcoin, like I said, it is sitting at resistance. Okay, what do you notice about the Bitcoin dominance though? If you overlay Bitcoin with the Bitcoin dominance, you see that it's quite, following each other, right? If Bitcoin goes up, the dominance goes up. If Bitcoin goes sideways, the dominance goes sideways as well. So you can say like, hey, what's the scenario for alts right now? BTC goes up, then alts on their dollar pair go up like less, but they still go up. That's why we've seen this pump recently. But altcoins on their Bitcoin pair go down. However, if Bitcoin goes down, altcoins on their dollar pair also go down, but also on their Bitcoin pair. So they are following it pretty decent. What you now see are two things, right? One, Bitcoin is sitting at resistance right now, so it might go down, right? It might go down. It's only understandable that it's getting a rejection right here, and that we don't just tap it and a blast through. Like that's just like, I know the sentiment in the market is good right now, but nothing is up or down only, right? However, if that happens, then the dominance is likely to go down as well, which means that altcoins are going up on their Bitcoin pair. Now, what's interesting is if we take a look at the total 3 divided by Bitcoin and we take USDT away, you will find this chart right here. And this chart right here is sitting at some big support right now. I am still under the impression, that hasn't changed, that we eventually break down like we did last cycle, and that altcoins on the Bitcoin pair are going down another 30-40% from here on average, give or take. It depends a little bit on where exactly we are going to go. We can go with 25%, we can go with 40%, anything in between. That's my accumulation phase. So it doesn't really matter. But in the meantime, if the dominance goes down, then it means that this is going up. So altcoins on their Bitcoin pair are going up. Now also, if we take a look at the Bitcoin dominance and we take away stables like USDC, USDT, DAI, and BUSD, this is the real Bitcoin dominance right here. Now, I've drawn this a while ago, and it's this beautiful where we get rejected right now. Right? What do you see in this chart basically? Well, we follow this trend line and we tap it here, we tap it here, we tap it here. So we could tap it here as well. It means the dominance could go down 1% or 2%. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but altcoins on the Bitcoin pair could definitely go up. So if you want to take some kind of a trade out of this, you could say like, hey, maybe now it's time to convert a little bit of Bitcoin into good quality altcoins that you really have faith in. To make them go up again, so that you can get more Bitcoin out of it. And then I think that this chart eventually will go higher than where it is right now, though, and that the better opportunity is coming. But what I also notice right now, and this is like very short like time frame, but if you look on the daily, right? If you look at Bitcoin on the daily, what is it doing? It has a green candle, right? However, if we now take a look at the Bitcoin dominance on the daily, it's getting red. That's like, this is like really small, right? This is a 0.35% candle to the downside for the dominance, and for Bitcoin, it's a 0.2% pump, right? So it's basically nothing. But this is the structure what you want to see if you want to have an alt season, right? An alt season is really where you see that Bitcoin basically goes up while the dominance is going down. That's where altcoins really run. Now, I think we maybe can get some move like that, where the dominance is going down, correcting quite decent, and Bitcoin maybe stays at the same level. That would be, for the dollar pair, really good for altcoins. And if Bitcoin goes down with it, then it's still good for the Bitcoin pair for altcoins. Now, when it comes to the dollar pair for altcoins, I'm not too bullish yet. Why is that? Well, again, you can take a look at the total 3. Again, that's the altcoin. That's everything except for Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? You could take a look at that and be like, yeah, if we follow this trend, we can still pump with like 5% or so. If we take away USDT, though, you can take a look at this trend, right? And then it's getting a little bit more clear on what the direction for the altcoin market might be. And then you could say like, okay, altcoins can pump with another like 3% maybe before it touches this, if it touches it, right? Like it does here, we also didn't. And here we also didn't. Like, we don't have to go there, right? But that's the area where, the big resistance at least is sitting. So they do have some room maybe on the dollar pair to go up, but in my opinion, not much, unless we of course break it this time. But if I look at the chart, lower lows, lower highs, there's nothing really on this chart that I feel like, yeah, that's something to be bullish on. We are above the bull market support band finally for the first time since, well, basically April. So the altcoin market is looking better right now than it did over the last half a year. However, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to say anything necessarily, because here we also went above it. We really didn't have that big breakout. Like, if you look at Bitcoin itself, we were above the bull market support band as well, but we touched it, we shot up. We touched it, we shot up, right? That's what you want to see. If I look at the altcoin market, it's more like, okay, we hover around on it, but we didn't really have that big breakout, and it only led us to get rejected again. So this doesn't necessarily have to mean anything. But you do want to see it hold for the next coming couple of weeks, because if the price stays like this, then these red dots is how the bull market support band is going to move, and you'll see that it's coming together with this big resistance. Yeah, and then it's crunch time, right? Then it has to decide, like, okay, are we now finally going to break out to the upside, or are we going to get slapped back down in it and maybe make a lower low again? The possibilities are still there. And when it comes to that, it's 50-50. But then again, I would say, like, okay, but if we look at the trend, it is lower lows and lower highs. So far, the chart for altcoins is more bearish than bullish. Also, you may not really care about the S&P, but it is showing maybe what Bitcoin could do. And the S&P is not really looking that fantastic, in my opinion. We could definitely see 4,000 or so. Lately, crypto has not really been following the S&P. It's more following gold. But at the end of the day, it will follow it again. It is just not that correlated the last couple of weeks, basically. But we have seen this decorrelation more often than just what it is right now, right? Again, if we overlay Bitcoin right now, it's quite funny to see that the S&P right here is going down and Bitcoin is going up, right? But it is what we have seen before. It's not the first time. For example, here the S&P corrected from like $3,000 to $2,750, and Bitcoin in that period went from 5K to like 10K or so. And at the end of the day, it still followed the S&P crash right here, and Bitcoin also. It came all the way down back to like $3,000 or something like that, which is absolutely ridiculous, of course, right? But I feel like, man, mostly of these things that people say, like, yeah, the stock market and the crypto market are now not correlated anymore. So fuck if the S&P goes down. Don't let it trap you necessarily. It doesn't have to mean anything, really. But like I said, if you have some BTC, it might be worth it to put it into some good altcoins at this moment, and not everything. Again, I think the dominance could go way higher. I mean, if you look at this chart, there's absolutely nothing bearish about the Bitcoin dominance at this moment. It's above the bull market support band. It's above every moving average out there. It's been in an uptrend for like 2 years, basically 1.5 years already. It's been making higher highs and higher lows. But the only thing that I said, like, hey, we now really come to a point where we finally have some resistance from the previous cycle. We haven't been there yet. This is the first time, right? And what's interesting is I don't think we will see such a move right now. We don't have that room to go down if we want to maintain this uptrend. Like, for example, June this year, right? What did we do? The Bitcoin dominance, it went down with like 5%. Could we go down 5% from here? Maybe by a wick, right? So maybe it will look like something like this. But what happened to altcoins on the Bitcoin pair back then? The Cardano, for example, from June, that period, if we want to take it from the wick low to the wick high, it gained 40%. AVAX in June, July, which was here, just, I mean, it doesn't look like much. And to be honest, it isn't much. It's 30%, right? It's nothing really much, but if you want to catch that, I think it's now pretty much written on the wall that we can get that trade. So what I'm doing is I think I'm gonna convert like 10% of my Bitcoin, give or take 10%, to some good altcoins. And in the next video, I will talk about which altcoins exactly, because you can just pick randomly one, but you also have to take a look at these altcoins themselves, of course, to look like, hey, how is the chart looking and is it showing strength? Because not every altcoin has to go up, of course. But I think I'm gonna convert like 10% of my BTC, and then when it actually pumped, I can put that altcoin back into Bitcoin, as I think that altcoins are still going to bleed against it. But this is definitely a way to make the most out of it. I've shot this video for the Patreon, for example. Check it out below if you want. There's a Patreon link right there, and then you can get a lot of exclusive content. But one example, like Vulcan Forge is such an easy trade. You can make so much money with this. It's really easy. Why? It has been ranging here for 1.5 years, right? And it's super simple. Buy it here, sell it here, right? You can make it as complex as you want, but this is such a clear range. And at a certain point, it is going to break out of the range, and you have to be prepared for that, right? So I have my little bag of Vulcan Forge. I bought it quite low. I sold it quite high, right? And I'm just keep repeating that all the time, but I never sell it all because I like the project also for the bull run. So if it does break out, I will go up with my bag. If it does break down, I should also not be too mad about it because, again, I like the project for the next bull run, so I can get it really cheap, right? And in the meantime, everything that happens is free money. I have like $1,300 worth of free Vulcan Forge coins. It's not like crazy or something, but it is free money. And that should be the goal, like building a free portfolio. That's kind of what we are also focusing on right now on the Patreon. So yeah, I want to leave it here. Take this as an opportunity. I think good opportunities will come. CeDeFi is, and by the way, this, I want to wrap it up with some perspective. I saw some people saying like, hey, CeDeFi goes to 40 cents. And then other people saying, no, it's not possible. It's crypto, guys. Everything is possible. in this case, and it doesn't matter about what altcoin it is, but going down another 40% from where we are right now, why is it like we had 40% moves to the downside once, two, three, four, five, six, 7 times with this specific coin? Why is number 8 so impossible? Exactly, I don't know, right? Always be prepared for if it goes up or if it goes down. I think that's really the safest way to go with. And also the most rewarding way. It's not only safe, but if you are all in crypto right now and you get such a pump, then congratulations. It's beautiful, and it's even better if you are all in. But what if it goes down and you are already all in? You cannot profit from these lows. So the 10x that you could, the 20x that you could have made is now still a 10x, right? And that's a shame. That's not what we're in crypto for. So yeah, guys, I want to wrap it up right here. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you like the video. If you're new, subscribe. I'm here every day. I'm not going away. Take it or leave it. But we're going to do this together in the next bull run. We're going to celebrate.